If you're in your 20s or 30s and ambitious about building real wealth in tech, you're probably being sold a lie right now. Work at a hot startup, learn to code, grind your way up the corporate ladder at a big tech company, stay in that help desk job for 5 years before you decide to move into cybersecurity, and meanwhile, you're watching people your age get laid off, you're seeing salaries stagnate, and you're realizing the path that you were promised doesn't actually lead where you thought it would. After 15 years of working in tech, specifically as a tech contractor, watching people in their 20s and 30s making this same mistake over and over and over again, there's a completely different path that nobody talks about. So in this video, you're gonna see why your 20s and 30s are the most critical years for positioning yourself in tech, what most ambitious people get wrong, and the strategic moves that actually build wealth instead of just keeping you busy. The first thing you need to do is stop trading your best years for experience. Most ambitious tech professionals end up wasting their 20s and 30s in low-paying roles. You end up staying in these roles for a long time because you're told this is what you're supposed to do to move up the corporate ladder. You're told that you need to stay in this role for multiple years so that way you can build up a lot of experience, but that is not the case. You end up waiting around for promotions, never get promoted, and that means that you end up wasting the most valuable decade of your career. You should be job hopping every single 12 months at minimum. If you aren't moving around every 12 months and you're not making the money that you want to make in your tech career, you are going to be stagnant for a very long time. The big secret that a lot of people don't know is that your company will never pay you the amount of money that they'll pay a new employee that comes in off the street that they hire today. You've been sitting around waiting for a promotion or a raise, and then somebody new comes in, no experience, they've never seen anything at this company before, and your company's going to pay them more than they're paying you. And it's not right, but you've got to learn how to play the tech game. On average, people that end up staying at the same company and they don't job hop end up being underpaid severely. This could be the difference between you making millions of dollars throughout your tech career and you not making millions of dollars throughout your tech career. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Literally, people are job hopping and they're getting major pay increases. I'm talking $50,000 salary increases, $100,000 salary increases. Even one of my VIP clients got a $150,000 salary increase. So why would you stay at the same company and leave all this money on the table? It's going to destroy the wealth that you should be building by working in tech. So you should be spending your 20s and your 30s maximizing income, not staying loyal to companies. Unless that company is going to pay you top dollar, you should be moving around, gaining experience at other companies, because that's the real way to accelerate growth in your tech career. You've got to think about it. If you start making $100,000 plus in your early 20s versus in your late 40s, you're going to have decades of compounding that's going to allow you to reach your financial goals many years earlier. I've been making over $200,000 a year since the age of 25, and that's what has allowed me to save and invest and build wealth by working in tech. And this is possible for anybody who wants it, but you have to be aggressive with your tech career. And if you want to see what these numbers really look like, just go to bankrate.com and look up their investment calculator and see the additional money you'd be able to save or invest over the years if you were making the money that you are actually supposed to be making instead of staying loyal to the company that you've been at for years. And by the way, if you want to learn more about high-paying jobs in the tech contracting space, click the first link in the description below. I'm having a completely free live training teaching you exactly how you can land your first tech contract even if you have no experience. But before you do that, let me show you why the private tech sector punishes ambition with instability. I'm sure you've seen all the layoffs that are happening right now in tech, specifically in big tech and in startups. What a lot of people don't realize is this is exactly how startups and big tech was designed to run. They were designed to be as efficient as possible, lay off any low performers, and also make sure that they make the max amount of money with the least amount of employees. So when you decide to go work at a startup that has not IPO'd yet, you're going to be offered equity that might end up being useless. Or you go work at a big tech company and you might end up in the golden handcuffs where you're making so much money, but every single year you're anxious and you're worried about getting laid off in the next round of layoffs that they have. I recently saw a post on Reddit where somebody was talking about how they had been in tech for 7 years but had been laid off 3 or 4 times. And I'm talking they worked at all the big tech companies. They worked at the Apples, they worked at the Googles, they worked at the Amazon. And as soon as they thought that they were getting more and more further in their career, they would get laid off after about a year or a year and a half. Now, I don't know anything about this person, their background or anything like that, but this can be the layoff cycle that ambitious people end up falling into. And this is exactly why you have to figure out the best way to get stability in your tech career long term. And that's why I decided to focus on tech contracting, because when you're a tech contractor, you have many different ways that you can navigate in your career. So the different options of being a tech contractor: option number one, you can be a W-2 contractor, and this is where you go and work W-2 for the big contractor companies that are already going out there and winning the multi-billion-dollar contracts for you. So these are the companies like the Booz Allens, like the Accentures, the Lockheed Martins, the Northrop Grummons, the Boeings, all of these large companies that go and win these contracts. Or option number two, you could be a 1099 tech contractor where you decide to go out there and get your own contracts and work with these different companies, and you can make 3 times your salary. Now, as 1099, you don't get any benefits, but they pay you 3 times what they would be paying a W-2 employee. So when you're 1099, it gives you the freedom and flexibility to stack tech contracts and allow you to multiply your earnings. Option number 3 is overseas contracting, and this is when you are a W-2 employee, but you sign a contract that says that you will work overseas for a certain amount of time. Now, these contracts are typically either 12 months or 2 years, and when you go overseas, you're going to make 6 figures tax-free because of the foreign earned income exclusion, and that number just went up to $132,900 a year, completely tax-free. They're going to pay for your food, they're going to pay for your housing, they're also going to pay for some of your travel as well. So you're going to make a lot of money when you're overseas because you have all of these different bonuses and uplifts and additional money that you're getting for being overseas. And so for me, as a tech contractor, I've worked W-2 contracts and I've worked overseas contracts as well, and the money can be absolutely insane. But the real reason why you can make all of this money is because of what's called a security clearance. If you get a security clearance, this is where the government decides that they trust you with their classified information and their secrets, and you can get this clearance by searching on clearancejobs.com, and you can go on clearance jobs and then you'll search ability to obtain, and you can filter by all the different IT jobs. So once you do that, you'll start looking for the roles that say must have ability to obtain US government security clearance, and you can start applying to these roles to get sponsored for your first clearance. And so this typically takes people anywhere from 1 to 3 months to get their first clearance. And then if you're trying to go overseas, the average timeline to get overseas once you do have a clearance is going to be anywhere from 6 to 8 months, just because it can take time for your visa to process, it can take time to just get hired and onboarded for these companies. So it is a process. But I do have a complete video and interview where I helped somebody get overseas, and he went from no tech experience to working overseas in 18 months. And throughout that process, he was able to land his first tech job working in help desk that sponsored him for a clearance. And then he came back to me and asked how he could go overseas, and he ended up landing a role overseas as a cybersecurity analyst, making $269,000 a year. So if you're interested in this, definitely click the link in the description to watch that interview, and I have a full video on how to get overseas government contracts as well. And I know a lot of ambitious people think that if you decide to work in the government sector that it's going to be boring, that you're not going to be able to make a lot of money. And that's only the case if you go and work for the federal government. And that's the clear difference between being a contractor. You do not need to work for the federal government. You can work for contractor companies, you can do your own 1099 contracts, or you can go overseas. And when you get that clearance and you have the right skills and certifications, this is going to give you a lot of job stability. So instead of constantly worried about layoffs, you're just trying to figure out, hey, what's the next best move for me to make even more money? And you also want to focus on building assets in your tech career, not just skills. And I know building assets, you're thinking about wealth building. I talked a little bit about money before, but what I'm talking about is getting the right certifications, having the right network, meeting the right people, and having a very strong resume, so that way when it's time for you to move around and it's time for you to command these high salaries, you've got everything you need to actually back it up. And I want you to understand that when it comes to getting certifications, you don't want to go out there and just get every single certification. You want to make sure that you're getting the certifications that actually lead to 6-figure salaries. And some of those certifications are going to be more advanced. They might not be entry level, but there are entry level certifications that you can get that will help you out to go down this path as well. And there, of course, are advanced certifications too. Some of those certifications will be cybersecurity, some will be in DevOps, some are in AI, and some are going to be specific to different vendors like Splunk or Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, companies like that. And I don't want to dive too deep into the certification in this video. I made a completely separate video on the best 10 high-paying tech certifications that you can get, and I'll put that in the link in the description as well. If you end up getting a clearance, this is an asset as well that appreciates over time as you get more experience. Even if you don't have a lot of experience, it's going to help you make more money. The average secret clearance holder makes $102,000 a year, and it doesn't even matter which role you work. I've even seen some help desk roles pay 6 figures just because you have to have a clearance. So again, that clearance is going to completely separate you. So when you combine the certifications with the skills and the clearance, it's going to push you into those high $250,000 plus salaries. I've even been seeing some cleared roles that are paying $330,000 plus for roles that a lot of people would deem as not high paying. And when I say that, I'm talking about roles that are in Linux, some cybersecurity roles that are just plain and basic cybersecurity engineer roles. So these high paying roles are out there when you combine all of these right assets together. So I want you to have a complete mindset shift on what it actually looks like to building assets throughout your tech career with the right certifications, the right skills, the right experience, gaining the right network, and having a proven track record. If you're able to do these things, it's going to allow you to make high 6 figures. When you have the right strategy, pulling all of these assets together and navigating your career in the right way, this is going to be the difference between making a high income in your 20s and 30s and not making a high income until you're in your 40s and 50s. And it's okay if you're just getting started in tech, but for the people that have been working in tech for 10 plus years, if you're still not at the salary that you want to make, now is the time for you to get aggressive and go after the salary that you want, the certifications that you want, and maybe even the degrees that you want, because these companies, the right companies, will help you get to where you want to be at. And that's another perk of contracting as well. If you do W-2 contracting and work for these different contractor companies, they will pay for your education. On average, most of the different contractor companies pay anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 a year. There's even a company called MITRE that has no limit to how much they will pay for educational assistance, as long as it's an engineering degree. So you should be taking full advantage of these companies, because this is how you're going to really get to the place where you have a strong tech career and you're not worried about layoffs, and you're able to build wealth, you're able to have the lifestyle that you want, and you're able to take care of your family the way that you want to. And really, this video is kind of revealing everything that I've done. Now that I'm 33 years old, I've done all of these things. When I started in my career, I was an embedded software engineer. At 22 years old, I made $72,500 a year, and I had to quickly figure out how I was going to be able to increase my income fast. And so I decided to go down the overseas contracting route, and that's how I was able to get to the $200,000 salary range quickly. And so once you build the right skills, the right assets, and have the right track record, you can use everything that you have to be able to make high salaries no matter what. You can make high salaries remotely, in person, overseas, however you decide to do it. And that's the freedom that comes with being a tech contractor. Your 20s and 30s are not the time to pay your dues or build experience for some future payoff. This is your peak earning decade. The decisions that you make right now, they're going to combine for the rest of your career. So you can spend it working at companies that undervalue you, or you can position yourself in the sector that actually pays what ambitious people deserve. Most people figure this out way too late, so you still have time to get it right. And if you want to see exactly how to position yourself in tech contracting, click the link in the description below. I'm having a free live training teaching you step by step exactly how you can land your first tech contract role, even if you have no experience whatsoever. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.